Okay, so I'm going to put it in her eyebrows. I'm going to brush it back, make sure they get completely covered with grease so that nothing sticks. She's still going to lose any loose ones. So as you can see, it just keeps dripping. And it's going to get to that point again where it stops dripping. And you can't work with it.
This tripod or camera stand, light stand, whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to actually do is take this ponytail and we're going to get it up and out of the way. So yeah. So as you can see, we're going to wrap the hair to make sure that none of it ends up in the silicone with this just your generic cellophane, cling wrap, whatever you want to call it. So this will protect the hair from getting anything in it. Rocky's a trooper, so I'm sure she wouldn't care if we did, but you know, some people might make you lose your job if you got stuff in their hair. So I have to say, this is actually a pretty impressive bald cap situation that Jeff did here. I've seen some really, really terrible bald cap applications. And while this wouldn't work for some kind of like 4K bald effect on Rocky, this is pretty good.
For face cast,
It's like great, actually.
Belong in like a Dr. Seuss film or something.
yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to, you're going to do the whole thing, right?
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'll get tape right there, like the Romulan girl in Star Trek V for all you Trekkies.
Jeff, we have no Trekkies watching, okay?
We might.
I'm sorry, we have Trekkers. All righty, one more wrap.
Wait, is Trekkies not like...
Trekkies fell out of favor back in around, I don't know, 76, 77.
So apparently, just for those of you who didn't hear that, Jeff says that the Trekkies fell out of, the term Trekkies fell out of favor in around the 1977. Everything in Jeff's life happened in 1977. Right, Jeff? Come on, back me up.
I'm not going to say a word. 76, 77, yes.
Yep, okay. The best years.
Even seeing the making of Star Wars in folding metal seats at Comic-Con with George Lucas showing a slideshow. So yes.
Jeff, I'm so excited to do more of these streams with you.
Well, that's not
Look at this thing.
it. This is. I think I murder someone with this. It's a look. I like it. I might. I've never taken this off.
All right, I'm going to go grab a clamp real
Go
quick.
get a clamp.
All right.
Get everything off.
Well, if it does, guess what?
Chop it off.
You have a new look to, you know, you shave instead of, going bald this way, you get a
I'm
bald.
gonna quit.
All right, Rocky, you're kind of attached to this now, so
All
just
right,
a heads up.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
god, this is so cool.
Let me get this one.
As you can see right here, they're battling,
Okay,
but
we're
it's
fine.
good to see that
But now I'm
this
going
is
to the left.
this is how much
This
her hair
outside,
is pulled
feels
up.
very unstable.
All right. So I'm going to be, now instead of using the spray, we're going to use Vaseline, which is grosser. But okay, so I'm going to put it in her eyebrows. I'm going to brush it back to make sure they get completely covered with grease so that nothing sticks. She's still going to lose any loose ones,
I'm prepared.
but
I'll just draw them in if any.
yep. So do that. I don't know. I'm sorry?
Just watch the tripod.
Yeah. Kyle's talking little things back there. I can't hear him, but it's okay. Ah, I see.
We're also live on Reddit at Kyle Does Art. Is that it?
I should get my beard. Remember last time I found my beard?
I
You're like,
know.
You gotta shave. And I was like, I refuse. And then it hurt so bad coming off. Get my beard.
I'm doing.
God, do I have chin hairs too?
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm so insecure.
Right now, you don't have a mustache like you used to.
I know, because I'm tweezing. last night a crazy mustache. I wanted to embrace the hairy lifestyle.
Your arms are like Alyssa Milano's.
Jeff! You make me feel so insecure. Actually, no, no, I'm embracing that.
It's okay.
Hairy lifestyle. Thank you. That was my lip.
I know.
Do I have hair on my lip too, Jeff?
Yes,
Should I shave my lips?
you should.
Okay.
You don't have as much as the woman from Titanic, so don't worry about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You know what? You know what?
And a
When
little bit
you're
of chest hair.
Polish, Russian, stop, Jeff.
I am Polish and Russian.
And Italian, you know what? You get
Look.
hair not just on top of your head; it's all over the body.
Exactly, I know this. Stop pulling.
Sorry.
Here, we'll get that just in case.
I can't wait to go wax my entire body. After
Yeah,
this.
you may have to.
Anyone pushes the buttons, you. Not if you're listening to this, Mike. This is just incredibly insulting, and I think I'm gonna file a lawsuit against this.
Okay. I don't know if we're about ready because I need to do her eyelashes and I don't want to do it till the last second. So, Mike, whenever you're about ready.
I'm about ready. Let's do
Oh
it.
my
All
god,
right.
I'm so excited, Gabe.
Jeff, why don't you go over again what our plans are here?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me get her eyelashes. Close your eyes. Do not open them now.
Are we done? So no more?
No more. No more opening eyes.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're gonna do? Why am I yelling? I don't know. So what we're gonna do is start applying it to the back of the head. Actually, I want to start with the eyes. Put it in the eyes. Get it around the face. We're gonna leave the mouth or the nose open for most part. If anything happens, you have to open your mouth. Go ahead. Take a breath and then breathe from there. But we'll work around the rest of the head and do the eyes, the ears, and the rest of the head and face, and leave the nose till last.
So we're gonna leave the nose till last.
Last.
Okay. Cool. So where do you want to start, Jeff? Like just start.
I would do the ears first.
Let's do the ears the right.
Do we want to put? We should have cotton balls in there, but we don't have any. Do we? With earplugs?
Rocky, do you want cotton balls in your ears?
Oh, you
feel-
know what? I have in my bottom drawer pile of my toolbox. I have the earplugs. If you want to shove that in. Actually, that's gonna come out pretty far though.
No, we'll cut them in
Shove some
half.
Cotton in. Oh, that works too. Yeah, cut them in half.
Right now, we're putting earplugs in, so the silicone doesn't leak in. Okay.
Look at these beautiful
I know.
edges, Jeff. These are beautiful edges.
Shove it in, Jeff.
You got one ear like mine too.
What do you mean one ear like you? What do you
Mine, one goes in easy, one doesn't go in. So yeah, technically, excuse me. So we're gonna leave her hand so she can panic if she has to. Give us a thumbs up. We'll be talking to her the whole time, and make sure everything is fine. Something happened.
So Rocky, are you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Excited?
Very excited.
Big champ. All right. So
Woo.
Jeff, ears first.
I would say, well, we're gonna start mixing it. We'll mix it up. We'll put it in the ears, get it all into the side into the right areas.
Are you gonna? So I'm tempted. Move a little bit closer, just in
I'm
case.
sorry.
So I'm tempted to use my hands, just use my fingers. So to get it into the underneath the ear
Right.
and things like that. Do you have suggestions, or what are you gonna do?
I am tempted to use my hands. Ideally, I should be using gloves and a stick or a brush. So I have chip brushes. We have that we can get all in there and get it in there. If we want to make it thinner, we can. But the problem with using your hands with the gloves is pulling the silicone away. So if we use a stick, we can scrape as we go along.
So I like that. Yeah. So in my life casting with the body double before, it's totally helpful to have that stick. So your hands don't get messed up either.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Excuse me. Do our best to know.
All right. So body double. This is not the fast. This is standard set, but standard set still sets up. I can't even speak. Still sets up in minutes. We might have maybe 5 minutes working time, maybe. So we're going to be mixing up in small batches. And because this is silicone, it can stick to itself. So we don't have to worry about it like alginate where it won't stick to itself. You have to work through that real quick setup time. But this one we'll just mix a batch at a time and apply it as we go along. And then we have a lot more working time, a lot more that we can get into the detail. So because I put it in this big cup, it's a matter of how we're going to mix it. Whatever you want to do. Mix A into B, B into A. It doesn't really matter. And when you mix this, you want to make sure it's completely mixed. So the one thing with Smooth On is because they make the colors so that you can mix it, tell when it's fully mixed. So this will turn purple, obviously, when we get it thoroughly mixed.
Why will it turn purple, Jeff?
Red and blue make purple. Even though you see fluorescent pink and blue, it's going to be purple. You want to scrape, you want to mix it fast. We're not going to worry about air bubbles because we can always smooth them out on the face. If we were using silicone for our molds, we would degas it.
So you guys can already start to see it has already changed quite a bit from that blue. It's gotten a lot more purple. Mix it really well. You can check a look around, especially if you're using these cool deli containers. You can see if there's anything caught in the sides.
I haven't seen it. Let me go back. Further back.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So we're really smearing it. Jeff, you describe what's going on here.
Okay, so we're getting it in, smearing it into her ears, making sure it's getting into every crevice so that we don't have an air bubble, an air pocket. You might have it thin in spots. We can always go back later and add thickened
That's one of the advantages
silicone.
of silicone, right?
Yeah, yep. It's the advantage you can add to it. You want to make sure you get behind it completely, behind the ear. And you can see it is runny. And we will be catching it, but once it starts gelling, it's gelling. And it's thin, so you want to keep going. Make sure you get it in the areas where there's crevices.
You're pretty good. I'm kind of going up under the head.
That's fine. The first, we're going to probably do a couple layers. First layer, as long as it's got in the, you get it in the crevices, you're fine. And we'll just add a layer later. Or layers.
Go ahead and talk about, Jeff, why now it's so obvious why we had the garbage bag.
So silicone, as you can see, works with gravity. It likes to just keep running down and running down. Garbage bag is here to catch it. You can always scoop it up, reuse, and protects the clothing, protects whatever else you've got down here.
Would you talk about your preferences, Jeff? Like, would you always do silicone if it were available?
No, I'm one of those, the right product for the right job.
Okay.
So silicone is really good in the fact, like I said, you can reuse it over and over to make more casts of the one thing you did. If you are working with somebody who's going to panic, who's never had it done, you might be better off starting with alginate because of the cost, the ease in pulling it off if anything happens, and it's if you're also if you're a beginner, silicone alginate is easier to start as a beginner. And I also like the alginate for the one reason that it runs if you depending on how you mix it, it runs, but it's not as it's not as runny, I'd say, as silicone, because silicone will just keep running and running and running.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about how quickly it's set, because at least mine is.
Yours is set? Okay, so I don't know how long that was. That was probably 3-4 minutes, maybe 5. And then, just like a lot of other things, once it's set, it's set. But as you can tell,
You don't want to Tell me you don't want to mess with it, Jeff. You don't. Like
You don't want to, yeah, once it's gelling, you do not want to play with it because you will pull it right off. There's enough time right now, as you can see, I can smooth parts of it out, but you do not want to keep pulling at it. All right.
Kyle, go and switch to this camera to the left a little
So
quick.
it feels like you just did my ears and a little bit of top of my head. So that's the first layer.
Yeah, well,
Then
we're,
you're gonna go in second layer all over.
Yeah, this is it curing right here. You can see how it's like stopped running. Rocky, how you doing? Let's give it a thumbs up to the camera. Big thumbs up. Cool, cool. Can you do a big shout out to Kyle for being such an
Kyle, thank you. Kyle Anderson, thank you for being such an awesome producer. And playing with some new toys instead of having to run around with one camera or two cameras, one in each hand, double
he's still
fisting.
doing it.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Having a fun time doing it.
You said you wanted 200.
200. If you can see, I switched from the big mixing stick to the small one,
Center it up.
thinking it would be better, but it's just more flexible. Trying to scrape all the crevices. Because if you don't have this fully mixed and it doesn't cure, you have inhibition and it stays sticky and is not fun. Okay. I'm gonna add a little more bit to the back of the ear here for right now.
Repositioning. Come on.
I'm just making it thicker back here so it doesn't create the big air pockets that I keep talking about. You want an air pocket. You don't want an air pocket because then that's another thing you have to trim off and fix, and it's a big pain. So.
Jump on Twitch, creatively_curse. This is where we're going to get all the really good angles. We have cameras set up all over the setup. That way you can get actual close-up shots of what's going on. You can get different angles, and we have much better audio. Jeff is mic'd up. We have a couple mics around here to make things actually sound good. So if you're watching this on Reddit and you actually enjoy it, jump over to Twitch. Get on Twitch so that you can actually give you the image that you want to see.
So just that little bit of silence because Kyle was telling everybody on Reddit to come over to Twitch. So, all right, I'm just filling in spots. When Mike gets his done, he'll probably start working on the face. As long as we have a good layer covering everything. You'll also notice that we are not making a seam to cut it yet. We'll have it in the mother mold shell. So our mother mold will be a rigid, it'll be plaster bandages. We need that to keep the silicone rigid when we're pouring up positive out of it. So that, since it's rigid, if we did that in one piece, we'd never get it off of Rocky's head. Whereas this, Rocky, you're tilting a little bit.
Which way?
Go to your right. There you go.
Yeah, just push me if you need to.
Okay. So a mother mold works as a shell to keep it rigid. And this, the silicone, we can slice and pull it off of her, but you'd never be able to slice a mother mold off.
When you're done with yours, go ahead and mix. If you want to measure out 2 more 200s,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll work on getting more up in this area.
Okay.
And then I think we're good. I'm gonna use this last. I guess I'm saying
You're
I'm gonna
tilting
use
your
this
head again.
last 100 batch for
Okay. For yeah.
this.
I can't hear, so you gotta
I
either
know.
scream or push me.
We'll talk real loud.
That's good.
Rocky's getting a little comfortable and her head is tilting down, so.
So relaxed.
You're doing it again.
more instead of 200.
200.
I'm actually curious, Kyle, are you cutting it horizontally or like which way?
Jeff, go over how we're going to cut it.
Well, yeah. So we'll do the cut up the back, slicing up the top of the head, no further than the ponytail, and then we can peel it back and then place it back in the mother mold. The mother mold would be sliced though down from laterally, I guess. So it's, oops, I was 200. So that we can split her head in half.
You want to switch to the side camera just in case? If you want to go over how to reinforce how we're leaving the face for
Okay. So that Rocky's able to breathe and communicate with us. We're leaving the face part for the last. Her nose will be the last thing that gets silicone on it and gets cast. But we're going to be doing the face real soon. Just want to make sure we get it everywhere. We want a nice covering on the rest of the whole thing, and like I said, giving her a little more time to breathe. So another good thing is what Mike just did: check on them all the time, make sure everything is good. They're not panicking.
Jeff, so I was thinking if you want to just put more on this area?
No.
Or are we ready to do the face?
Ready to do the face.
So I can watch and make sure that everything is going well.
Yeah.
If you want to apply, or I can apply and you do that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Either one.
So go ahead and describe that. Like, it is helpful to have someone's like main job just making sure
Right.
the nasal.
Yeah. When you're doing just a face cast, one person is usually okay. Doing a whole head cast, it's better to have a couple of people. And in the case of this, one person just can keep checking that the nose is doing well, and she's breathing okay. Even just using a brush to get the little areas up in the nostril or around the nostril.
Looking real good, Rocky. Just FYI. You okay? That just makes it. He's about to start putting it on your face. You ready?
There you go. Have fun.
Alrighty. I'm going to work up or down to up so that gravity works with me.
He is also, it's hard to tell, but he is applying a decent amount of pressure with that tongue depressor. You really want to make sure that the the silicone is making contact, not creating bubbles. It is in fact getting up into the detail, especially where some of this stuff is already set up, like up here. He wants to make sure that when he applies it here, that pressure is getting inside that seam that's kind of created.
Okay, lean your head to the right again. Rocky, to the right. Okay. Ooh, I am sorry about that.
What just happened?
I just gouged her.
Nice, Kyle.
Alrighty. So as you can see, it just keeps dripping, and it's going to get to that point again where it's stops dripping, and you can't work with it. So, okay, I'm going to do your mouth in a minute. You want to take a breath? Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, Jeff's going in. He's making sure we're picking up all those details in those lips.
A lot of times if I'm doing an alginate, I'll have them open the mouth and close it so that I get inside. Or most of the lip, I shouldn't say inside the lip. Here's where you end up with a lot of air bubbles, is on the eyebrows and in the eye socket. You want to make sure that you've got it in there.
Yeah, that's that pressure I was talking about.
Okay, don't poke their eyes out though. Yeah, I got it.
Here we go.
Okay.
You're doing good, Rocky? Cool.
And you will get air pockets under the eyelashes if you just let it drip, and you don't want that. You don't want air pockets right there in the corner of the eye.
Making sure to get inside the nasal labial fold too is really important. Get that done right now. Switch spots.
Yeah.
Again, pay attention. We're getting to the nose last.
Okay, tilt your head to the right. Thank you. You want to do the nose?
You can do it. We're right here. We still got plenty left.
Yeah.
Or you want to literally leave it until we reinforce
No.
everything?
I just don't know if this is gonna set off. So
Here we go, Rocky.
I just want to make sure the eyes are, because your eyelashes are popping through and your eyebrows are popping through. If you want to try to scoop up around the drips down into the chin.
Yep.
Okay. Tilt your head to the right some more. Thank you.
Why do you keep saying that, Jeff?
She's leaning. She keeps leaning toward me, and then we'll have a crooked.
We're about to kick. I don't know if we want to do the nose
Okay.
maybe the next batch. Just do the first thing we do is the nose, and then we use the rest to kind of reinforce.
Well, I want it to get a little thick, so.
Oh, before we do. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Can I get a Q-tip? Thank you.
Are you just trying to move it up?
I'm
and
getting
there?
up in, not as high as we can in the nostril without going in.
In red, it just went down.
Now, when we go and do a second coat or
We'll
heavier
need to
layer,
reinforce this.
we'll reinforce all this, but it'll be the same thing, just taking
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 your time.
time. Doing okay, Rock? Okay.
I don't know if we want to mess with this much longer.
Look at a little bit. You can go closer in.
Bet you've never had anyone pay attention to your nostrils as much as we are. That's another thing you probably shouldn't do
To your right.
is make the person smile.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll strengthen that on the next batch.
Yep.
I'm just going to go over her. Any place that needs a really thick. Whoops. See what I did right there? No, you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's starting to pull away.
Hold on a second. Yes, we got it. Anywhere that it's cured, Jeff, we're probably good to go.
Yeah. I'm just trying to fill in. There's a big air pocket right there that it formed. Now it doesn't have to be smoothed out, but it's so much easier to get the mother mold on it when it's smooth.
Talk about that again.
So if you have too many stalactites, stalagmites, whatever hanging, there'll be an air pocket, or to push it out when you try to fill it with something when you're making your positives. So your nostril, shoulder, your mouth, your nostril, completely open. Hold on. Completely open. Yep. Nothing there. Okay, so this is just about set up. We can move on to the next batch. I'm just gonna spackle it in. Feeling okay though? Ooh, I did it again, I'm sorry. Just want to hurt Rocky, that's all it is. It's looking good, everything looks covered.
Did you already mix up another batch, Joe?
Nope. Okay. But we are good to go for the next batch. I'm going to be changing my gloves for a second.
Give a big thumbs up if you're doing okay. This is the only form of communication we know.
No other questions yet from the audience? Nothing, okay.
I'll just remind people of Face Off, who that show was.
Yep. It was. Right now, Sci-Fi's playing reruns. Yep. Yep. I mean, generally you can catch it on demand, but I think there was always one season missing, but I think all the seasons are available right now. You okay?
I'm just
Okay.
How many more batches do we have? Just 2 more?
2 more should be plenty.
Okay, so this is pretty much reinforcement.
Yeah. Any thin spots, anything that needs touching up. You seeing anything? That's the other bad thing with face casts. It's like back when with photography, or people take pictures, you take it to the place to get developed and you don't know you have good pictures until you get the pictures, and that could take, 2 or 3 rolls before you got a good picture. Face casts, you look like everything's fine. You take the face cast off and you got a giant air pocket in the eye. And it's a pain in the butt. Because of course people don't like to get their face cast the second time.
So we're really thin back here
Mm-hmm.
and thin under the jawline. which is not surprising because of
Right.
gravity. So
And these we don't have to apply immediately. We can let it thicken, but we still want to get like smooth out as much as we can.
and we're still thinning on.
Her face, her nose, yeah. But at least we've got everything covered. Now in the end, when we go to pour it up, or before we pour it up, you're going to say, well, there's 2 holes in it. Everything's going to leak out. So we have to either plug it with silicone, with clay, whatever we use to plug it up.
I just like seeing your hands, okay? That's very important to me.
And again, where the ponytail is, we will plug that up. And an easy way to do it is just to take clay, stick it in there, and then pour some thickened silicone back in there.
You know what I'm inclined to do here, Jeff? Why don't we just start at the top and let it, you know what I mean?
You've got to still watch out for her nose if you want.
I can keep an eye on her nose. That's not a problem.
All right. Also going to try not to gouge and pull the silicone off that we already put on.
I'll let you kind of roam around, and I'll just.
Okay. And as usual, you know, all your detail you want in the face. If you're doing a body cast needed, you know, the chest and or fingers or whatever, then you'd concentrate on that. But
Talk about how the silicone. Talk about the silicone form, like how the thicker the silicone is, Jeff. Right, like it helps. The plaster bandage isn't doing all the work. You know.
oh yeah. So if we have thick spots of silicone, that'll keep its shape. You know, like especially inside the ears or under the chin. The more you have, it helps the rigidity or strengthening it so that when you do go to pour something in it, it's got something to support it. So
Definitely saw the back.
yeah. Now a lot of times you'll watch videos and they look like a mummy, you know, you put the plaster bandages on and everything. And at that point, once the bandages are on, it doesn't matter if somebody's smiling underneath because the stuff is already set. It's got its form. You still don't want them to laugh, but you know, it's everybody starts making jokes at that point.
Kyle, when I talk, you can hear me okay? Yeah, one of my most frustrating parts is everyone's always so worried about the face that they forget that the form is overall important. Like you don't want them tilting their head. You want when we go to do the video about how we're going to make a positive from this, you're going to see how the thicker the silicone is, the better, because it'll want to naturally pull away from the plaster bandage. And so usually we do some keys and things like that. We didn't in this case, but it's not the end of the world. And the keys would help, quote unquote, keep the silicone in the plaster bandage.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. That's why it's called a key. In this case, we don't. It's going to be really smooth, so it might want to flop away. And so the plaster bandage there is the mother mold is really there for that form. The thicker the silicone is, the less it'll want to flop away.
Are you still awake, Rocky?
Big thumbs up from Rocky.
All right, tilt to your right. Thank you.
Oh, that's from.
The silicone, just like alginate, has some weight to it, and it looks like maybe parts of the bulb cap pulled forward, or
Yeah.
but they'll just have to be shaved off when we pour up a positive.
What was that for?
Tilt right again. Tilt right, Rock. Thank you. It's got one little section under this ear that just keeps wanting to pull away.
think you're already getting to Jellison already.
We're getting there.
Watching the nose, I'm watching them. The nose. Want to switch spots, Jeff?
No, just a second.
Look at that. Nice.
Let me switch now.
Yep. Just remember, take your time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I went to a makeup demonstration one time, and the guy took 4 hours just applying makeup, and I think I was the only one that stayed the entire time. It's like watching paint dry, but you know what? The end result, to me, is worth it.
Careful, Rocky. Here we go. We got you. We got you.
Don't pull too much.
I know, but I understand that.
Yeah.
Jeff's really trying to get that inner nose detail.
This batch is lasting pretty well. Just about at the end of its life. You getting hot in there? Are you okay?
Big thumbs up.
Okay.
You're looking clear, Rocky. We're in no danger of you losing any breath.
And just in case, we're at the point now that if she did panic, we could get this off of her.
Yes.
It would be a complete waste, but we could get it off.
Jeff, you mentioned that a couple of times. If someone were to panic,
Mm-hmm.
talk about that. Have you had someone panic before?
I think I talked about it already, but
Touch your
yes.
head to your right, Rocky, a little bit. Just your head.
All right, so I've had people panic. I had one person panic as I'm putting the last of the plaster bandages.
I'm gonna start mixing up the other
Okay. I've had people panic as it goes on. I was one of those.
And what happened in those scenarios?
Then you just rip it off. And in the case of the one that I got right down to the last minute, I happen to have extra material with me. Because generally, a lot of times you're going to them, so they're more comfortable than them coming to you. Okay, so I used to have a lot of problems breathing, and I also have a little bit of claustrophobia. But the claustrophobia isn't the problem for most people. It's the fact that there's something heavy on there that you have no control of. You feel your breathing isn't as clear as it is normally because it's, you don't have full, your nostrils are open, but it feels like they're not fully open. And you start panicking, and then of course, your adrenaline goes up, and you're starting to just hyperventilate, and you can't get enough air, even though everything is fully open for you. And the woman who panicked at the last minute, hers was just straight out claustrophobia. With me, my claustrophobia is mainly my arms. Like this, I would still have claustrophobia because I can't move my arms like she is. But it's just something out of your control that you don't know the end, what's going to happen because you haven't done it before, or even if you've had it done before, it's a different experience every time.
So I think her face is probably pretty good.
There's a couple, I want to reinforce the eyes
Okay.
and under the chin, and everything else is
You know what you're
extra.
talking about.
Okay.
Another thing you can kind of have as an advantage is the fact that most of this gravity is just falling down. So in some ways, you can almost always be assured, to some extent, don't quote me on this, but that down here can be generally a lot thicker because everything that has been going on up here has kind of fallen down here. And so, and you can tell already for those of you, Cal, I'm going to switch that one over, it's a little bit closer. we're already cured in a lot of these areas. This is already totally set silicone. So yeah, thank you.
So I'm just going over her eyes, just making it a little more even,
Mm-hmm.
so we have less places to push down on the plaster bandages. So, and also anywhere like her eyebrows and eyelashes want to poke through, which it looks like we're pretty well covered in that area. And again, like I said, under here, this is another area that I've run across
Yep.
where you're trying to pour it up and it's just pulling away because there's so many drips
Yeah.
that it created where it won't stick to the bandage. Well, flung that one.
Nose is still doing good.
And we're still having a problem with this ear over here.
Still just dripping away.
Yep. But I think this'll do it.
Hey Rocky, if you feel it peeling away from anywhere, can you give me a thumbs up?
Hmm?
If you feel it peeling away from anywhere, give me a thumbs up.
Mm. Mm.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. I was just curious.
Tilt to your right again. Thank you.
So Rocky's head obviously plays to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Try to move this coverage in here.
The last few minutes of this will just be smoothing, wiping, as it stops, as it starts to gel. The other good thing about doing silicone body double is that you don't have to pour it up immediately. A lot of people like it to sit overnight before they pour anything into it, whereas alginate, you have to get it immediately. Otherwise, it starts shrinking.
Yeah, it starts
So-
shrinking, right, Jeff, because of the evaporation of the water.
Oh, water,
which is
right.
The main part of it, I
Yep.
guess you would say.
Right again, Rocky?
Hmm?
Right, tilt, thank you. Yeah, there's no water in the silicone, so you don't have to worry about it. But like I said, some people let it dry overnight or set up completely overnight. And
Silicone you're talking
the silicone body double. And also, because we put Vaseline on her face, you can wash it out of the silicone. It doesn't matter much in the alginate because you're only pouring up plaster. But if you're using this Vaseline matters if you're going to be pouring up something else in there. Like if you put plastic in there, the Vaseline will repel the plastic.
Remember when we were doing Whitney Cummings' Lifecast, Jeff, and she
Yep.
freaked out and thought her ear was going to get stuck inside?
Yep. That was fun, trying to get the ear, we're knowing that the ear cast will come off fine, and she started panicking, and we're trying everything to try to gently get it off.
Yeah, it was tricky.
It was, yeah.
See, that's interesting to point out. Like in that scenario, someone kind of started panicking even over just like an ear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that easy. It's hard to explain once you're inside this. I know people, maybe you were one of them, Jeff, who's like, oh, I could have it done to me forever. You know, like
Yeah.
just this level of like, it's almost like meditative. Rocky brought that up when we were talking earlier,
Yeah.
you know, about kind of getting into this pseudo meditative state over it, you know?
No, I was, like I said, I was doing it since I was 12, and it wasn't until I was 21 that I felt comfortable. And I had already had, God, I don't know, 10, 15 face casts. My friend and I we'd go and buy stuff, try stuff without instructions, face casting, head casting, and no. But there wasn't much, I mean, there was 2 books that we had as reference, or calling up makeup artists and asking them, or even when you go there, you know, one experience we had, they were casting a face for Videodrome, and the whole entire face, they flew the guy from, I don't know if he's from Canada or not, they flew him out to the studio, and they did the face cast, and half the face was a bubble. And you, like they said, you can't tell until
I
it's
know
done.
people like that.
And he was also, oh, I can do this, and it wasn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. Me, it was just my breathing thing that I had the problem with until I was about 21.
I freaked out with a Lifecast once. I was crying before the Elgin even made it over my face. So now we're just trying to go through and make sure we're not hitting any, we're trying to fill any holes that might be there. Again, the better this keys to our plaster bandage, the better it will be for sure. But overall, congratulations, Rocky. I honestly believe this is going to be a really nice cast.
The other thing when you're doing face casts and you include the ears is getting it out without breaking an ear off, or filling it so you get full ears.
Breaking off an ear from the cast.
From the cast. That and trying to get a full ear when you're pouring stuff in there. Oh, I did it again. I gouged you. All right, so after this sets, then we put the bandages on. So this is taking a little longer because we're doing it as an instructional. So normally you're not going to take this long. You're doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't panic, make me panic.
Mm-mm.
Just don't like that. Okay. All right, we'll let that sit for a couple of minutes and then we'll do the bandages.